Hi, I'm Dave. Katja and I have teamed up with U.S. Captain Training to bring you a vlog about interesting people in the marine industry. On this episode, we're talking to Glenn Chevel, owner of Callinectes Boatworks in Kennebunk, Maine. This is just a 5-minute preview version. If you like this and would like to watch the whole thing, you can check that out too.
This off, you'll see that Spanish cedar. This is original piece. This deck we vacuum bagged down. It's a plywood core that we epoxy coated the backside to allow to help manage the moisture penetration from the bottom through. And then we had thin veneers that we used to make our special plywood. We put down on the deck, and then we vacuum bagged it down as our clamping pressure. And then we would hook a suction line up and then a feed line on the mold while it's under vacuum, and it would suck the resin. Actually, it doesn't suck it; it pushes the resin through all the weaves of the glass and the materials, and then you're reducing the weight of the hull because you're controlling the thickness instead of if you're just hand laying up. You just keep on adding glass and resin to it, and sometimes when you're hand laminating, you don't know if your glass is still touching or if it starts to float. If you have too much resin, you're starting to float. Yeah. So if you're vacuum infusing it, you're controlling the thickness and also the amount of resin and also the weight, and also you're capturing the volatile and organic compounds that would go into your atmosphere.
So in the mold, so the very first thing you do with a mold, what do you start with before you're going to lay up fiberglass?
You clean it.
Okay.
Not once, not twice, 3 times. You make it really, really clean, and then you wax the heck out of it. And there's this tape test because you're waxing, and there's several types of wax. There's mold release agents that are spray, which is what they call a polyvinyl alcohol, PVA spray, or you can just build up wax, mold release waxes. And there's a tape test that when we produce we finish waxing it up, you take a piece of tape and you stick it to it, and if the tape doesn't stick and just falls off, you got enough wax.
Take a walk outside?
Let's take a walk outside. I think a 52 Century Resorter 16-footer. This is typically condition of the boat that we get to restore. You see the varnish is peeling. This deck was actually supposed to be blonde, but somebody had stained over it. You can see that it's much lighter. Well, you can't really, but it's a yellow color like cedar, but it's a type of blonde mahogany. And that's a good transition right there to the next boat.
Yep.
One that's sticking out. Really busy in the shop, and sat out here till just last year. Again, this is a 1952 Century Resorter, just like that old boat that we saw on the side there, the gray boat we call it. This is a full restored boat. So an engine restoration, a cosmetics around 3,000, full restoration is somewhere between 6 and 9, depending upon what needs to happen.
Does that include the transmission too?
No, we would send that off to another. Well, some transmissions he can do.
Basically a before and after of the same boat.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's different. You notice how the deck on that previous boat was basically raw wood look, but that's what it should look like once it's all done.
Avoiding the raindrops.
Our production boat, and this is a Callinectes 16. This is the stripped down version that we built, but we haven't finished because we didn't have an order for it. The other 3 were sold, and this one we just want to have one in inventory that's near done, and it's been sitting here for several years because I stopped marketing. I've just been so busy with restoring other people's boats, I haven't had a chance to go back and start marketing this thing. There's the jet ski motor. It's a Weber 750-100cc dry sump engine. It's fuel injected, turbocharged. Dry sump is that it doesn't rely on piston slap to lubricate the rods and crank, anything like that. It's injected in the amounts that it's needed. This is a 1941 correct craft. This is the boat that the Cypress Garden skiers would use back in the day. This is a junior, so this is the smallest one they would make. This one only has 40 horsepower, and it has 7 coats of epoxy barrier paint on the tops and bottom side, and then we finish coat painted. The rest was just enamel, topside enamel. This is a 4-cylinder. This one generates 40 horsepower, but if you had 2 carburetors, it would generate 60.
Thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah.
You're
Hopefully this came out okay in the rain.
Oh, let's hope so.
I think
Let me know.
it did.
Yeah, let me know.
We were close.
And we'll leave the tops off because I'll bring them out and wash them and put them back
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Awesome.